Mike.
Sean, what is this, a crossover episode? That's beautiful. I like
It's
that.
amazing. I'm imagining like like
some kind of weird music. Yeah, I'll find something. Some YouTube royalty-free shit.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to What Is This, a Crossover episode. This is the third episode of this podcast that we're still kind of blindly feeling our way through. I'm Mike, and I'm here with my Ganbu. One half of the Squid Boys, Sean. Hi, Sean.
What's up? How's it going?
Welcome. We recorded the first two episodes of this like a month ago.
Yeah, before the charity. Oh, that's dating it even more.
Yeah, so, and we're probably just releasing this, like, we're recording the whole season before we release any of this, so this is going to be weird. I've never done it like this before, but it's a good experiment.
Which I do think you're going to have to edit the last two episodes, because I think we asked for feedback, and that will not affect anything.
No. Well, now we're looking for feedback for season 2, all right? So let us know.
As we're recording season 2, we're commenting on the feedback from the corresponding episode in season 1. So like we record season 2 episode 1 and we reread comments from season 1 episode 1.
I actually that made me think of I talked to you about this podcast before, but Dungeons and Daddies, and I'm sure there's people out there that listen to it. They did this bit where like later on in the first season, they did this thing where one of the characters time travels to when they made a decision in like episode 3, and they're on like episode 60, and they went back and re-edited the episode so he shows up and does something weird. Right. And so if you listen to it like because I listened to it before that episode was released, so it was normal. But if you go back and listen to it, like this character shows up and talks to himself and says, "Don't do this," and then goes back into like
it's so
fucking funny. Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, that was a spoiler. That was a spoiler for that.
That was last time.
You're welcome.
Last time we talked, you told me to listen to Dungeons and Daddies, and I haven't still.
Dude, you should. It's really good. It's a really good.
I thought about it today, actually.
It's less focused on like the D&D like mechanics and more just about a story, but with D&D. So it's and they're really funny guys. So and gals. So anyway, this episode we're talking about Prickly Muffin. It's episode 3 of season 1 of BoJack Horseman, which is a show that we're talking about on this podcast. This episode, Sean, was released on August 22nd, 2014.
Wow.
And we have to go through everybody's favorite segment, which is what happened on this day, August 22nd, 2014. It was a Friday. California Attorney General Kamala Harris marries lawyer Douglas Emhoff in Santa Barbara, the future Vice President of the United States and Senator. The number 1 song in America was Rude by Magic. And the second Ebola death in Nigeria, Africa's most populated country. So that was August 22nd, 2014.
I forgot you were gonna do that. And then as you started to say each one, I remembered how it ended.
Yep, I always go with the worst part at the end, which is the number 1 song in the UK, Am I Wrong by Nico and Vince. That is the worst part.
Okay.
This episode, Prickly Muffin, has a 7.3 rating on IMDb.
Oh, that's lower than I would have expected.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot. What did you think of this episode, Sean?
Oh, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I really liked this episode.
It's pretty funny. It's the first 2 episodes are the first episode's definitely a pilot.
Yeah.
And then the second episode's definitely like it's definitely an adult cartoon, right?
Oh yeah, but you hate the
Which
troops
is
really and actually quoted quite a bit during, I think it was the charity stream. Are you gonna go around the horn like a Democrat, or no? You're gonna go around the horn like a
like a gentleman,
like a
or
gentleman,
go through the canal
yes.
like a Democrat.
That was it. Yes.
Yep. Yep. There's some classic quotes there. But this episode starts to introduce some more characters, and we get to meet Sarah Lynn, voiced by Kristen Schaal.
Okay, so that was something that I wanted to bring up during the episode because I was listening to Sarah Lynn, and I was like, I know this voice, and I want to make sure right now that I'm sure that I'm right about this. TV. I'm pretty well. Yes. Okay. So she voices Mabel on Gravity Falls, and the entire time that I was watching this episode, it kind of took me out a little bit, and it kind of made it even more fucked up than it already was. Because in my head, I'm seeing Mabel, and like some really fucked up shit is happening in this episode, and I'm like, oh, that's a child.
So, interestingly enough, this isn't on her known for, but I know her. She's Louise Belcher in Bob's Burgers as well.
Interesting.
But what I actually know her from originally, have you ever heard of a show called Flight of the Conchords?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
So, Flight of the Conchords was an HBO original show back in 2007, and it's also a folk comedy band from New Zealand.
Okay.
And Brett and Jermaine, and they're known for Jermaine especially has gotten on as a comedian actor, and he's like in animated movies now, and he
did What We Do in the Shadows, yeah.
What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, with him and Taika Waititi, which Taika Waititi directed some episodes of Flight of the Conchords.
Okay.
So they're all from New Zealand, and they've been. But anyway, Kristen Schaal plays a character named Mel, who is the only fan of the band, and she wants to have sex with both of them, possibly at the same time, and like makes them feel very uncomfortable the whole time.
Okay.
And she's fucking hilarious. And then her husband drives her around to do this.
Okay.
So he's like just the nicest guy, and she's trying to like, hook up with them, and they're just like, please leave us alone. But like it's a really funny show. I highly recommend everybody watch it. Tara and I own it on DVD, and Tara and I were watching it like a couple weeks ago just because it's so funny. But that's what I originally know her from. But she's been in so much. She's really come into her own as a voice actress.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Mabel. She's in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. She's known for Norbit, apparently. Have you ever seen the movie Norbit?
I haven't.
I haven't either. I was kind of out on Eddie Murphy there, But if you look at her credits, like she's done a lot. Toy Story 4.
I mean, the big one that I saw was Anthem.
I'm sorry, Anthem?
Anthem, the BioWare game.
Anthem?
Yeah, Anthem.
The Anthem Report podcast?
No, Mikey, get out of here. You're not allowed in. You're not allowed here. You're not allowed in here, Mikey.
So she's done a lot. She's in Mad Men randomly. She's one of the phone operators.
Okay.
So she's done a lot, but she's Sarah Lynn in this, and
I
she's
just
a very
saw
distinctive
Mabel
voice
the entire time.
Yeah, for sure. But I love her in this show, and we get to meet a lot more of her later on. But in this episode, Sarah Lynn's a character that's kind of like. She's like a Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan kind of train wreck at the time.
Kind of Miley Cyrus. That was probably what was happening right at that time.
Yeah, for sure. Typically, we'd talk about the A plot and the B plot here because a lot of the episodes are formatted like that. This one's not really.
Okay, so what I really love about this episode is that there's a subtle B plot that you don't realize what it is until like one of the last scenes in the episode.
Are you talking about Princess Carolyn?
It's Princess Carolyn, and you think the B plot is she's trying to get Sarah Lynn as a client. Right. And then you realize at the very end that this has all been like her part of this has all been an elaborate scheme to get Andrew Garfield as a client. And I loved that twist.
Yeah, no, for sure. Princess Carolyn's definitely smarter than you think she is.
Yeah, but barely a B plot, but it does exist.
Yes, it does. I have one IMDb trivia for you today.
Okay.
And actually I have two. One is he tries to check her into Promises Rehab Center, which is the same one that Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan attended.
Really?
Yeah, they purposely made it that. And then this next one, like, sometimes people just don't understand what trivia means.
Okay.
On IMDb.
No, I've seen that.
So like, when Todd says he accidentally stepped on a needle and is now addicted to heroin, it's a reference to Breaking Bad, where Aaron Paul also played Jesse Pinkman.
No.
That is just a stretch.
It's beyond a stretch. It doesn't make any sense. It means nothing.
No.
There's no connection there.
People, and I see this, I look at a lot of IMDb trivia because of my Marvel podcast where I look at that, and that's one of the things we talk about. And people are always just like, oh, well, he mentioned feet, and feet is something that She-Hulk has, and She-Hulk is a Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are you talking about, you psychopath? Like, that's not even a reference. That's just you making connections, hitting the copium way too hard. So that if you're someone that writes IMDb trivia, please stop.
Yeah, please stop. That line though, I stepped on a needle earlier. I'm probably going to be addicted to heroin now, so that's going to be a whole thing. It's so good.
Yes,
especially the way he finishes it.
Yeah. Well, and this is definitely I said this like I think first episode, but Todd's really going to start coming to his own as his own thing and not just like Aaron Paul doing a goofy voice.
I loved Todd in this episode.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Todd. I sent you some of my notes.
Yes, you did. You did. So the A plot, which is basically the plot, is that Sarah Lynn has a breakdown after her celebrity boyfriend, Andrew Garfield, breaks up with her, and she's 30 now, so no one cares about her, according to a Ryan Seacrest type. And
so right off the bat with that, I just wanted to ask, she turned 30. Who cares? How are you feeling, Mike?
Yo, I was scared to turn 30. I'm 35 now.
Yeah.
But my 30s have kind of been the best of my life.
I'm happy to hear it, dude.
Like in your 20s, like, yeah, it's cool. You party a lot and you like, do whatever, but like, you don't really know who you are.
BoJack podcast.
But you know what I mean? You don't really know who you are in your 20s, like
I know what you mean.
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so she basically the plot is that she shows up at BoJack's house and he doesn't know, he treated her poorly when they were on Horsing Around together, and so he's trying to make up for that in some weird twisted way, and she's taking advantage of him and partying and not going to rehab and not just doing horrible things, and he's letting her get away with it, and then it kind of devolves into them having sex together.
Really, my notes when that happened was, do not, no, stop. I agree with Todd. This has to stop. He got pulled in. Longest 2 minutes of his life. Get out of there, Todd.
I love the way that scene goes down. And he's like, who lit my ottoman on fire? And she's like, I did. You want me to put it out with my boob? And he's like, you would put it out with your boob, wouldn't you? And Todd's like, wait, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like, that scene is so funny, but so awkward and terrible at the same time.
Which is, this show does such a good job of being so real and so terrifying. Like, so I wanted to go way back to the beginning, because there's a lot at the beginning, first of all. I wrote down this line verbatim because I really hope this continues, but I'm pretty sure so far every episode BoJack has had like a monologue where he just says some fucking really messed up shit and then just moves on. And this one was, your family will never understand you. Your lovers will leave you or try to change you, but your fans, you be good to them and they'll be good to you. The most important thing is you got to give the people what they want, even if it kills you, even if it empties you out until there's nothing left to empty. No matter what happens, no matter how much it hurts, you don't stop dancing and you don't stop smiling, and you give the people what they want, which is just...
And he says this to a very young Sarah Lynn. Yeah.
Not only that, but like, it's just a hell of a line, and it hits like that's my favorite my favorite Bo Burnham song is the end of one of his older specials, but he pretty much sings a song about that. Like that, and I think even as like social media, like this was what, 2014 you said?
Yeah. August 22nd, 2014.
So like, as kind of social media influencers and stuff, I think this is kind of relevant to a larger group of people now because of the rise of social media influencers and that kind of stuff. Because I think this is something you hear a lot from them as well, is the kind of like, don't stop, you know? Because
they'll forget about you if you stop.
They're gone. Which is just, I mean, this show gets very real.
Even on a smaller scale, you know what I mean? Like, not that I'm super successful at anything, but I felt that when we like don't stream when we're 100%. Supposed to stream. I'm like, oh God, what if Sean hates me now?
And I've told you, I feel like that would speak the words. Whenever there's not an episode or something. Right. So like that's just I love this show so much already. Also in weirdly prescient stuff, the sexy 14-year-old dubstep wunderkind Sextina Aquafina.
Hell yeah.
Like, that's some real shit today. Like
Sextina Aquafina, baby.
But like there are like underage girls on these like fucking I mean, or even if you look at like Billie Eilish, right?
Yeah.
Where like
the amount of dudes that Google searched her the moment she turned 18 and stuff, you know.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's fucked
I mean,
up.
with like these dancing TikTok girls, like a lot of them were like teenagers.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's super, like, I was watching that bit and I was like, this could have been made today and it would have been completely accurate.
Right. As she talks to a Ryan Seacrest type.
Yes. And we got why this episode is named Prickly Muffin, because Sarah Lynn is talking about how
I love the
why don't you touch my prickly muffin?
I love the end of like when she's like on the penis rocket ship floating, and she sings, and it's ready for your stuffing, but it's like auto-tuned the fuck, so it sounds like ridiculous. I love that.
A pun that I loved during this whole opening sequence was my clitoris is ginormous, but it's like gyno.
Yeah, so I wrote that down too because later on they're listening.
They listen to
like
the song,
They listen to the song, and like when they're having the lemur party, and and I was just happened to look down at the caption, and it was like the lyric was, "Hey boy, come and try. My clitoris is enormous."
So
what?
So because you brought up the lemur party thing.
Are you gonna say lemur on fire, dude?
No.
Are you gonna bring up lemur? Oh, okay. I love lemur on fire.
But what was all of that? Did I miss a joke about like why are they all lemurs?
I think they're like racially profiling lemurs. I don't really understand. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, why was everybody she parties with a lemur? I don't know.
I don't know if there was a joke there. Like,
maybe it was easier to animate because they just would draw like the same lemur over and over and then just make them different fur color or something and put different clothes on them. I don't know. I don't know why they were all lemurs. They don't really explain it. But yeah, it exists. They were all lemurs. I don't get why.
Yeah, I have no idea what was going on there.
One thing that happens in her meltdown with Andrew Garfield that I really liked is she stabs herself. You know, I don't like that part.
Okay.
She takes a bunch of pills and she stabs herself, and then she goes, "Who wants to see me take a dump on this sofa?" And then it's silent, and then Todd slowly raises his hand.
Yeah. But so like, not only does she stab herself, but she stabs herself with a letter opener made out of Confederate bayonets that were stained with Yankee blood.
Yeah, because it's one of those stores where they make all that like they're making fun of those antique stores that make shit make garbage into like stylistic shit.
That's so crazy though. Stained with Yankee blood was a great line.
Yeah, definitely. She ends up in Bojack's house. And Bojack's being way nicer to her than he ever is to Todd. Todd actually finds out that he has a guest room.
Yes. Okay. You have a guest room? You'll get the guest room when you earn the guest room.
But we find out that Andrew Garfield loves lasagna.
Yes.
and B, Andrew Garfield hates Mondays and loves lasagna.
And she's like, I don't want to talk about this.
Right. And then he's like, she doesn't want to talk about it, Todd. Like, he's just always backing her. But I love that bit with Andrew Garfield loving lasagna and hating Mondays. It's just so funny to me. It's just such a stupid piece of writing that just makes me laugh every time.
Todd might be my favorite character in this episode because he also has the great exchange during that conversation where Sarah Lynn's like, because somebody got a DUI. And he's like, you're the one that got the DUI. And she's like, what are you? The cop who pulled me over after Adam Levine's birthday party?
Yeah. She keeps referencing Adam Levine's birthday party. Yeah. That's where she meant Doctor Who.
Yeah, she says, I got these pills from a doctor at Adam Levine's birthday party. And she said, I think his name was Doctor Who.
And he's like, Doctor Who? No,
I want to see that birthday party. I think they reference it a third time.
They do. They reference it 3 times. Spoilers, we never see that birthday party.
Oh, I'm
However,
disappointed.
I want you to remember the Doctor Who joke just in case it takes us another month to watch like more episodes because the Doctor Who joke returns and it's really good.
Okay.
This is an episode that doesn't have a lot of like animal-based jokes.
No, but it has one that is the best.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say because I think it's the one I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so my favorite was, who's a bird got a blow to get some seed around here?
Oh, do you like that one? Okay, yeah.
And I love the idea as well of, they're like, hey, why did you fill your bird feeder or whatever? Like,
yeah, the paparazzi are hassling him about his bird feeder, yeah.
That was my favorite.
My favorite is during the only, I think he's the only non-lemur there besides the main cast, but there's a hamster and it's one of those hamster water things, you know, that they have to like lick the little ball and then it gives them water, but he's using it as a beer bong. And
I totally missed that.
It's one of those scenes where like they're nothing's going on, it's just like cutting into the next scene.
Yeah.
And they're pouring beer into his little hamster thing and he's like drinking out of it. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I totally missed that.
Yeah, no, they do a lot of that where it's like coming to the next scene and there's just something in the background, and if you're not paying attention, you don't see it. But that's where a lot of those animal puns are in the show. I know we're definitely off track with how the episode goes, but there's not really a super big format to it.
No.
But I love the flashback. I think Diane's asking Bojack about like how him and Sarah work together.
Oh, in the dressing room?
In the dressing room. And he's talking about like, she's like, what are you going to do, Bojack? And he says all these things that a kid would love.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the carnival and I'm going to do this and do that. And she goes, can I come? And he goes, like, I'm going to hang out with a kid. I'm out of here. And then they come back from the flashback and Diane goes, wait, so you were putting on makeup to leave for the weekend? He goes, hey.
Like, that's what, like, but also, okay, there's so much about that scene that is so good and really fucked up. But first of all, the mother reading the parenting magazine and the cover is a girl showing her tits, like her shirt is pulled up, like great visual gag. And then she says,
"Mommy didn't blow that Star Search producer for you to be an architect."
I think the exact wording is better, which is, Mommy didn't do what Mommy did to that Star Search producer, you're right. So you could be an architect. Like, I'm kind of trying to cover it up a little bit, but not really. Like,
right, like it's clear what happened. Yeah.
And right before they go into that scene,
Diane,
thank you. Yeah, Diane is like talking about. I could not catch all that she said, but it was so what do you think about Sarah Lynn? And then she goes into this like Britney Spears-esque tirade about what she means to women's sexuality, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think about her a lot though." And then Bojack's kind of like, "I just kind of meant what you meant, like what you thought of her staying here." And she goes, "Oh, it's a terrible idea," or whatever she says. Well, that's great, but
that's a good bit.
What she says is like some crazy deep shit.
Yeah. Like
the one that I wrote down that I just was like, oh, that's an interesting idea, was reclaiming sexuality. This is paraphrased, but what she says is something about reclaiming sexuality as a way to comfort themselves as they cater to the male gaze, which is an interesting idea. But I mean, you know, that entire fucking spiel is like, what? I'm like, I need to like pause and go through and try and understand what you're saying because you're throwing so much at me.
Yeah. Well, and the bit is just like she says she doesn't think about her much, but then she has this fucking thesis statement about that, and it's really funny.
I love that. Like again, that's what I really love when this show is like, here's a funny, stupid, really fucking dumb joke, and then existential crisis. Like
yeah, and that's what the show does best. It mixes those two things, and you'd think they don't really go well together, but somehow they make it work here, and it's really good.
So I have a question about Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Is he gonna do those poses thing the whole time?
I don't know,
because that was a little weird.
So they do this quite a bit with celebrities that are like themselves on the show. You know, Social Network time Andrew Garfield is looked at differently than now. Yeah. I think people made fun of him a lot back at this time, where now people generally have accepted him, and he's Spider-Man and you know all that. Yeah. But this was before Spider-Man, right?
No, he would have been done by now, or the second one might have just been coming out this year.
But I think they're trying to say he does such a thing when talking. I don't know.
I think he also bobbles his head around a lot. But I don't know. Okay, so
the second Amazing Spider-Man came out in 2014. Yeah. So, and they also made him overly British. Like, I know he's British,
but unless you sometimes if he's really excited in an interview, he'll get like really British. But
yeah, I know you're a big Andrew Garfield stan, so I knew you wouldn't like that characterization of him.
I don't mind it. I wasn't quite sure what they were going for with the poses. I guess I didn't get the joke.
I will tell you, Andrew Garfield does show up again in the show, but not a ton.
Okay.
So if you're turned off by the poses thing, you won't have to worry about it.
It wasn't even that I wasn't turned off. I wasn't like, this is stupid, this is dumb. I just didn't get it. I was just like, okay. I was like, this is silly.
Yeah, whoever, animated that has a certain way they think Andrew Garfield looks and talks, and I don't know that they nailed it, but
I love the just because this is the closest note that I have to what we're talking about right now, when Bojack's like, I'm really more of a before rehab friend.
Yes, yeah, that's a good line. It's a really good line.
And that also leads into something I love. I love that this show is also playing with like really fun narrative structuring techniques as well, because we see the opening, and then we see like this whole opening where they're like, are you going to go to rehab? And she's like, no, I'm going to go somewhere else. And then it cuts to Bojack and Diane. And then we go back and we see like Bojack's day leading up to that conversation. And then it picks back up from there. And I like shit like that.
Well, don't they do a thing where Ryan Seacrest type says, where does someone go when they turn 30 or something?
That was it. And then it cuts to the house. Yeah.
Who could that be?
And then it goes back, and then we see Bojack's day to get back to there, and I love that.
Yeah, definitely. They do a lot of really cool narrative stuff, and it's gonna get crazier and crazier as we go on. So I'm excited to get there. I'm trying to think what you talked about the Princess Carolyn twist already. How it turns out she was masterminding Andrew Garfield being her client, not Sarah Lynn, which is smart because Sarah Lynn's kind of washed up at this point.
No, it's it's such a good plot because like I was wondering what the fuck was going on that entire time. I was like, what is Princess Carolyn doing? And then at the end, when it all unveils, it's like the fucking Joker in the Dark Knight, where it's like the whole plan is coming together, and you're like, you're a fucking sick genius. Like, what is...
Doesn't she walk up to her and say, what it do, banana bread?
Yeah,
or something like that. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Speaking of, I did fucking crazy. I don't know what the fuck that was. It's just, and it makes so much bread. It makes so much more sense when like she's trying to like get her to push her in this other direction. Love the TV Guide Award bit.
Yep, good bit.
And this is, I can't believe I'm already admitting defeat on this, but when Mr. Peanut Butter showed up, I was disappointed at how little he was in the episode.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I already was like, oh, wait, that's it? That's all we're getting in Mr. Peanut Butter this episode?
Dude, I cannot wait for you to hear Mr. Peanut Butter's theme song. because that is the moment where you are going to turn into a Mr. Peanut Butter believer, dude.
Dude, oh God, that whole TV Guide Award thing is fucking most prestigious award he's ever won. And then he lets the credits roll while they're sitting there.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. Like there's like some really good psychology shit happening with BoJack in this episode and how he's like acting like he's on the show right now and like trying to vicariously live that or whatever. And so then him sitting there and letting the credits roll, and then he's like executive produced by like like that. So
yeah,
good.
he even does like the arf arf, good boy.
Exactly. Yes, like the fucking production studio tag at the end, like the not a doctor, like so good.
Yeah.
And then immediately TV Guide Award sold, which is like sad, but then it's followed up by Mr. Peanut Butter being like, yeah, I buy up all the TV Guide Awards I can find, and then I replace them with my own name. He's like, I have them, and I don't remember what shows he listed, but he listed off like a list of shows that he has TV Guide Awards for.
And it's just him buying them from pawn shops.
And then but the best part of it, because buying them from pawn shops would be funny, but what puts it over the edge is that he replaces the name with his own on all of them.
Right. He won them. They're his award.
Yeah.
Love Mr. Peanut Butter, dude.
Oh,
just a legendary character.
Okay. Included in this whole sequence of events, I don't know if I missed. Sarah Lynn says Kazaz has cancer. Who's Kazaz?
So, I don't remember if they've mentioned him much, but Herb Kazaz is the guy who created Horsing Around.
Interesting. Okay. But I picked up on that because it was like it felt important, but I wasn't sure who Kazaz was.
Yeah, and we learn more about him in coming episodes. Okay. But I will tell you, he is voiced by Stanley Tucci.
Can't wait. I love Stanley Tucci. Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang.
Tucci gang?
That's that dude.
What's
from
your
the
favorite?
Hunger
What's your favorite Tucci role, dude?
I don't
Because you're
know.
gonna hate mine. You're gonna hate mine.
Okay, you tell me yours. I'm gonna look at Stanley Tucci's.
My favorite Tucci role is Caesar Flickerman from the Hunger Games.
Is it? That's that guy from the Hunger Games. Transformers the last night. Beauty in the Beast like, spotlight.
Because he's like Hunger Games, like that dude. I fucking love it, dude.
Tucci gang. I love that video. Unironically, who is that? That's it's Pete Davidson and I think Sam Rockwell is playing Stanley Tucci in that video.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And then at the end, it's a video of Stanley Tucci going Tucci. I think my favorite role of his is it might be in Captain America.
Yeah, he's good in Captain America.
I really like him as Erskine. But yeah, writer and director of Big Nights. I'm so excited for that. I love that. I'm just looking back at my notes again. The show being weirdly prescient for its time, constantly. Sarah Lynn says that somebody tells her every day that she's the first girl they masturbated to, which is awful. That's a horror. So sick.
But you know that like Britney Spears would get letters like that.
Yeah, of course. But
or
also,
Lindsay Lohan. You know what I mean?
What I thought about was when The Force Awakens was coming out. The Force Awakens was coming out and it was on the Graham Norton show. And it was Carrie Fisher, John Boyega, and Daisy Ridley. And Carrie Fisher told a story about how somebody like saw her in a shop and told her, you were the first girl that I ever masturbated to. Like told her that in person. And then
that's
Carrie Fisher
fucking weird.
Carrie Fisher turns to Daisy Ridley and goes, so that's what you have to look forward to.
Ugh. And that's so awful.
It's so awful. But I thought of that story when I saw that on this episode of just being like, yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that from a real person.
Mm-hmm. And you know there are tons of women, unfortunately, that get letters like that, which is insane.
It's crazy. I don't know what level of fucking like I don't like how why would like how unaware of social norms or just common sense do you have to be to like send something like that, or how disconnected from reality,
right?
And you just view these people like they're not actually people. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway,
the show just hits. Funny.
Here's the thing: we're gonna get into conversations like this watching this show because the show is so good at bringing up that kind of stuff in a way where it lampoons it, but also makes you think about it, right? So, we're gonna have to get more used to. Oh, this is awkward. Now let's talk about a funny thing. You know what I mean? So, all you listening out there, just roll with it.
I still have one more awkward comment to bring up before we're done. There's one more bit in this episode that is.
Let's do it.
So sad. Oh, well, I have a couple more funny things before we get to that.
Okay, yeah. So let's sandwich it.
Let's continue to be tonally inconsistent. I liked the line of like when Todd is like, "I'm calling a house meeting," and he's like, "You can't call a house meeting. You can propose a house meeting." And he's like, "Proposal submitted under board review, denied." Like that one when Bojack when Diane is like, "I think you're taking advantage of her. She has a substance abuse problem and daddy issues." And he's like, "We both have substance abuse problems and daddy issues."
Absolutely. That's true.
And then I will hit the ending really quickly and then we'll go back a second. But when he's like, "Everything is society's fault and we as individuals never need to take responsibility for anything."
And then Todd's just like, "Let him have this."
Yeah. He's like, "Nothing I do has consequence." And I just wrote down the writers watched Joker.
Yeah, true.
they watched the movie Joker.
I mean, someone was mean to the Joker, so he killed him. You know, that's how it works.
That's how it works, dude. It's society's fault. We as individuals never need to take responsibility for anything.
Exactly. I was formed by my surroundings, therefore I cannot take any blame in that.
That is a line that is funny, but that is funny and not like sad or scary, I don't think, but like, yeah, like that's what people like. I guess the scary part is I think there's a lot of people that believe that, and you see that lot online, especially.
I mean, it's the problem with that Joker stuff, and it's like people leave that movie and they go, "What a hero!"
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like
when you go to like an awkward Jimmy Fallon interview or whatever, and the comments are full of like, "You should have fucking pulled a Joker on him or whatever," like because of the scene in the movie. You want to hear a joke? Yeah.
Get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think the musical is gonna have like a like a I can do this all day, but you get what you fucking deserve?
Oh, I hope so. I can't believe that fucking Todd Phillips is tricking me into going to see another one of his fucking movies by putting Lady Gaga in it and making it a musical. It's not fair.
He's a genius.
Because those are literally, I was like, I do not want to see another fucking Todd Phillips movie ever again. And then fucking,
he's a genius.
And then I saw those news and I was like, I'm going to go see this movie.
It's ridiculous.
So the really sad thing that happens at the end of this episode is Sarah Lynn goes on a whole speech where she pretty much says that she never needs to grow as a person. She can surround herself with sycophants until she dies tragically young.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that is... Like, they play it as a joke, but it's so true and it's so sad.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it makes me very grateful because I do think they were channeling the Miley Cyrus thing because I feel like it's referencing the Britney Spears thing, but I think Miley Cyrus, this is when that was happening, was like this time. And I'm really glad because it seems like Miley Cyrus has really come around the last few years.
All three of the women we've referenced.
They've all come around, I think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Britney's free of that horrible stewardship or whatever you call it. And then, I mean, I haven't heard a lot about Lindsay Lohan recently, but she hasn't died, I guess. So
I guess not hearing is also good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Miley kind of really turned it around, and she's still a pretty successful musician and singer, and good for her. You know?
So it's very sad, but it's also comforting to me that at least, like, I think that the main things they were satirizing or whatever, or they were talking about, like the cultural touchstone they were trying to hit with that storyline, had a happier ending than what is proposed
for sure
in this show. Because, like, I mean, you can look at you can look at lots of famous actors, actresses, musicians, where that's the story, you know?
Yep.
It's very sad.
It is. Haha, funny
yeah,
BoJack Horse Show.
And to end it off on a lighter note, fucking storylines, serialized storytelling. The episode ends with the reveal that the birds took pictures of them fucking and then flying off. And what are they gonna do with this? And it's like a cliffhanger.
They talk about earlier that this would kill BoJack's whatever little bit of a career he has, that he would have sex with his on-screen daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of tease us a little bit. They go, wait a minute. What's gonna
happen next? It's like,
this ain't Family Guy.
No, I finished the episode. I was like, I kind of want to watch the next one. I kind of want to know what happens here.
Yeah. The next episode 4 of season 1 is called Zoe's and Zelda's.
Ooh. Okay.
Zoe's and Zelda's.
The legend of.
The legend of Zoe's.
Zelda, the legend of.
Yes. The legend of, Zelda. Anyway, so that's the next episode. Sean, do
you want to hit our favorites?
Oh, you got favorites still? I thought we talked about them all.
I guess so, but I guess we talked about everything. I don't really need to rehash it.
You got something we didn't talk about?
No, I was just gonna point out what was my favorite of what we talked about.
My favorite's Andrew Garfield. Just that he hates Mondays and loves lasagna. That's my favorite, Todd, because Todd's just like, wait, Andrew Garfield likes lasagna? Wait, he hates Mondays and he loves lasagna? Like, I just love that.
Like I said, my favorite animal-based joke is who's a bird got to blow to get some seed around here.
Yep.
My favorite bit overall is Todd consistently being like, you have a guest room? Why have I been sleeping on the couch for the 5 months? Like that whole thing where he's like just trying desperately to get BoJack's affection.
And BoJack will not give it to him.
No. And my favorite quote of the episode, I think, might be the one at the beginning that I said about, the kind of
BoJack's little
quote.
speech, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this when you talked about it, but the way they animate BoJack in that scene with his eyes super wide, he comes off very spooky.
Yeah.
Like, and he's supposed to like scare little Sarah Lynn, and she looks terrified when he's saying it.
Yeah.
When he's saying it, but they do a good job of taking a horse, which isn't typically a very emotive looking animal, right? Like you can't look at a horse and go, that horse is mad or that horse is sad, but they do a good job of humanizing him, and making him look a certain way,
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode, Sean.
That's it. We did it.
We don't have an outro, do we?
We don't. I guess, I think we did. Well, we could do plugs and then...
Yeah. Why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you're doing, dude?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_AFK. I usually try to retweet everything that I'm doing on there. I guess the other big podcast I do is Speak the Words. It's a podcast about a book series called The Stormlight Archive, and I guess the wider works of that author. That's at Speak Stormlight on Twitter.
Wow, you're not gonna say the Marvel podcast, dude?
Oh, McUnhinged. It is a MCU podcast I do with Tyler Ems and Shibuya Gato. Because I haven't really done anything where I've had to plug it, because I don't normally plug all my individual podcasts at the end. I usually just throw my Twitter account out there, but it's at MCU Unhinged. So MC Unhinged. MC Unhinged. Yeah, at MC Unhinged is the right way to say that. We've done the first 3 movies, and we're moving along at a pace.
It's a great podcast. You guys should check it out.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I don't know if you've actually listened to it.
I have.
I'm so happy.
Wait, why'd you gasp?
I'm just so happy that Mike is listening to something that
Why wouldn't I listen to it?
I'm just so happy.
Shut up. Anyway, you can follow me at SpikeGhetti Bros on Twitter. You can check out my other podcast, the Ansem Report podcast with my brother Jason, where we talk about Kingdom Hearts every week. That's right. You can make a podcast about Kingdom Hearts and talk about it every week. You definitely don't run out of things to talk about. But, you could do 160 episodes in 3 years and still not, still have things to talk about and not want to not do it. You can definitely do that. Also, we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SuperSpikeGhetti And, there's a lot. We do a lot. So check us out.
What, you're not going to mention Coach by Tara?
No, I'm not. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening. There's got to be some.
I think last time we ended it, I sang Back in the 90s.
That's right. No, I gotta. Sean, I want you to. You're gonna say. However you want to say goodbye. Just say however you want to say goodbye.
Okay. See you guys next time.
Suck a dick, dumb shits.
I like that. Thank you.